Hey everybody, welcome back. It is a World of Warships Wednesday. Today I'm bringing a bit of an older battle. This is in fact from 17 July of this year. And today is 21 of August this year. Sunday is when I'm recording the narration for this, so it's quite a way back on this one. But you'll see some of the things I want to highlight in this video. I get a pretty massive Citadel coming up, along with a couple of kills, but more of the highlight is... First off, just let me point out that by no means do I consider myself to be an expert or a pro in World of Warships. Not at all. I've only been playing this game maybe 5-6 months, I think. I don't remember exactly when I started, but it hasn't been that long at all relative to how long the game has been out or relative to my War Thunder time. I don't consider myself a pro in War Thunder either, but I've definitely been playing War Thunder much longer than this. I'm over 3 years. But I know there are players that have been playing World of Warships for that long or longer, and they're definitely a pro, so I'm just getting started. All that being said, I can definitely recognize when somebody screws up big time, and that does happen in this battle, and it's not me. But just understand when I point that out, it's not that I'm not pointing fingers from a position of perfection by any means, but I can still recognize when somebody makes a huge screw up. Anyway, so starting out, we've got battle here on, oh, I forget the map, darn it. Anyway, so decide, I'm more or less on the eastern side of the map, so I'm going to head down the eastern side of the battle. Start picking up the enemy ships here in a moment. Our guys spotting them. And now this is not the mistake I was talking about, but the enemy carrier player does make a bit of a mistake right here and launches his torpedoes against a farragut. Which is beautiful because it's just a complete waste of his torpedo squadron. So, works great for us. And you'll see me comment on it in the actual game chat too when it happens here in a moment. I thought he was going in on the Nagato, but he's more concerned with the destroyer, I guess, and kind of really screws up here and goes after the destroyer, which he should have just kept it highlighted and let his teammate ships deal with it, because those torpedoes just went right past the farragut there and nothing doing. A lovely waste of torpedo planes that our fighters then get in on behind them. So, beautiful. And I didn't type it to the enemy team because I try, if I can help it, I try not to taunt. I'm trying to grow past that, so I will type it to our team and just say, oh, thank you very much, enemy whatever who did whatever that benefits us. But unless I'm trying to teach somebody, or they're like, say, hey, I'm really new, can anybody help me with however I'm using this ship or tank or whatever, then I might tell them, okay, you just screwed up this or that, you should try to do this or that. But trying to get away from taunting unless somebody's doing a lot of taunting back, in which case I feel turnabout is fair play. So I've got this New York in my sights here, and I'm just waiting, hoping. He's just barely out of range and slowly creeping within range, waiting for him to get here, and then I realize that I can't get him around this island without hitting the island, and rather than fire the shots and hope that maybe one or two will get through, I decide, discretion being the better part of valor, I will wait until I can get to the other side of the island and unleash the full broad spectrum of all my broadsides here. So, unfortunately, I'm not really helping my team, who are getting just bombarded there by the enemy ships, but... And an Atlanta appears as our guys are spotting him, so that's a bit of a concern. So there's a New York, he's in range, and I'll tell you what, I could not miss any more spectacularly or any more closely than I do on this barrage right here. Watch how close these all are. You can't miss any closer than I missed right there. I washed all the salt off his bow, practically. So there's a Cleveland behind the New York and an Atlanta out in front, along with a Miyoko out there. That's basically what most of the enemy force is. And we've got the Miyoko, a Farragut, myself in a New Mexico, and I forget one other ship with us. I forget what it was exactly. Now, the Atlanta, I fail to recognize is not moving forward. And in fact, in a moment, starts actually backing up. And that's a really bad thing to do, is draw an Atlanta's attention to you. For those of you who have not experienced an Atlanta, pay attention here, because basically if an Atlanta spots you, look at the rate of fire on the Atlanta's guns. And an Atlanta can basically... The best comparison I can come up with is an Atlanta unleashing rain on you is like an entire squad or platoon full of privates first class on payday in a strip club, because the Atlanta will freaking make it rain, as you can see right there. Now, I managed to get away without too much damage, but it's a very bad thing to have an Atlanta have you in your sights. Alright, now look how much health that New York has right here, and just watch this majestic barrage.
Enemy severely damaged. We've destroyed an enemy battleship.
Wow. Wow, that is the best salvo I've ever had in the New Mexico, even including since this battle. Those two Citadels I had there, sadly, this was before I figured out how to turn on the running damage count meter up there in the upper right, where right now it's showing the Devastating Strike award, because I would love to have seen how much damage I just did right there. Unfortunately, the way I was zoomed in and tracking in it, I didn't get to see how much actual damage he had when I hit him, and I'm not sure if somebody else hit him at the same time or just before I hit him, but man, that was... He had more than half of his health as he was sailing into view there, so... That was, that took me probably by just as much surprise as it took him. Now, I didn't realize either, I didn't recognize that that's the back end of that Cleveland, and he's backing out to fire, and then he's coming to a stop and sailing forward again. I should have noticed that that was not the bow of the Cleveland, that was actually the stern, and I should have aimed better. He gets me with a little bit of damage, but it's nothing too terribly serious. So I kind of survived that mistake a bit. I'm taking some damage here, but it's nothing too major yet. Nothing that I can't recover from with a little bit of damage control party, and a little sailing away from the battle would help, so still doing alright here. I've got another New York here. I figured he's the angle he's traveling at, I've got a better chance of hitting him with the lead on the shots than the speeding, totally broadside Miyoko up there. And I get pretty good hits there. 5 hits is not bad. Oh, here's something else I should point out. This battle is more than a month and a week old or so. So just please understand that I know better now than turning broadside to them like I just did here. And I do try to angle my ship better and turn more towards head-on or tail-on to the enemy here rather than going broadside like I did here. There are a few occasions where I still will risk a broadside because I'm trying to get all my turrets in rather than just being patient and just accepting half the turrets instead of all the turrets. But I'm definitely better than I am in this battle. It's been quite a bit. Also, you'll notice if you look at the mini-map, the other gigantic mistake I'm making here, which is turning right directly at the the edge of the map. Trying to get myself turned away from a broadside on these guys. I pretty much turned directly west, or east rather, and just sailed right into the edge of the map. I do recognize it right before it happens and I start turning. So at least by the time I do hit the edge of the map, I'm already correcting my course back to the right. So I'm slightly swinging it back around already by the time I actually hit, rather than just hitting it dead on and being totally stuck and slowed down. I was at least already turning. So I'm not stuck on the edge of the map for too long. Thankfully, I don't pay too badly for that slight error in paying attention. Now, the enemy Miyoko is getting knocked down pretty far, and if I had scored hits on him here, I definitely would have finished him. However, you see, my shots don't quite get to him. The New York here actually beaches himself, and I'm just dying for my turrets to reload here. And I realize that my aft turrets are already reloaded and ready to go. So I get the aft turrets on, and then try to bring it back around just in time for the forward turrets to get reloaded and get another good barrage in on him. Do a bit of damage. Nothing to finish him yet, and I think when I'm playing, I'm actually like playing this battle, I think that it's the Farragut off to my left that's firing, but it's actually the Miyoko that's basically directly behind me that's firing here. So in a moment, I don't realize how much damage the New York is going to take here from this, and actually fire some killing shots off. Unfortunately, I fired these off. I should have just let them go and more or less pretty much steal that kill there. Now, I thought I took it away from the Farragut, but it's actually taking it away from the Miyoko behind me. And I know a lot of people will say, you know, it doesn't really matter. Dead is dead, and dead is what's important. But I try not to take the kill off somebody who's done most of the damage that's left. Just let them get the reward for the work they've done. So I thought it was the Farragut, which I told him, you know, go ahead and finish off that Miyoko. I won't fire at the Miyoko since the Miyoko is ripe for the picking as well. I was wrong. It's actually Grumpy Monkey right behind me in the Miyoko, our friendly Miyoko, but I turned my attention to the my counterpart enemy New Mexico here. And if you look at the map, basically, all that's left down here, the enemy Miyoko was just sunk. All that's left down here is the enemy New Mexico, and then their carrier is somewhere way out to the west as well. That's all that's left down here to defend their cap. So we've got this New Mexico quite outgunned, and we've got their carrier to worry about, but for the most part, the only thing that's really going to stop us is this New Mexico here. So we've got myself, we've got a Miyoko, and we've got a Farragut against another New Mexico. So we've definitely got him outgunned. We can surround him. We can hit him from a couple different angles. We're in a pretty good position. And we've got a relatively even defense up at our cap against the enemy force that's sailing up to our cap as well, with the 2 battleships, the destroyer, and our carrier up north. So we're in a decent but still kind of precarious position here with our cap going on. So I realize that it's now or never. It's time to push towards their cap. So they move into our cap and start taking it, but it's not a crisis yet because we can always hit them a couple times and knock down their capture progress. So I'm trying to get some good fire going on him because he's already been set on fire once. Trying to take advantage, and because he's turning, my gunners overcompensate the lead that I programmed in and fire way too far off to the right, which is a problem I've noticed several times with the I don't think it's RNG. I think it's actually the computer controlled gunners calculate in their own lead based separate from the lead you calculate in. And I've noticed a lot of times when an enemy ship is turning, I'll calculate in the lead for where I know he's going to be, and then my gunners will completely miss off to the side, which is a little disappointing. So the best thing to do, which I do better now since this battle, is let the enemy ship finish turning and just be patient and wait and don't fire until they've finished out their turn. Or if they're zigzagging, then you've just got to hope for the best and fire. But did get another fire on him there. He used his damage control party or his repair to stop it. So he's really vulnerable to HE shells now. And he'll pay for that in a moment. Once we all... You can see everyone's firing HE at him now, because we all recognize that he's very vulnerable to it, having already hit his repair. So everybody's pouring HE into him now. He's recovering some health with his damage control party, but he's also taking a lot of damage, and all it's going to take is one good fire, and he's pretty much toast. And there it is. Friendly Miyoko. Grumpy Monkey there has got a good fire on him and puts more into him as well. And he turned at just the right moment here to avoid my HE hits. Grumpy Monkey's just pouring HE into this guy now. He's in a lot of trouble. There's not a lot left to his ship. And his damage control party, if he's got anything left, is not gonna counteract the amount of fires he's got going on, so. Thankfully, Grumpy Monkey did get a kill there in accidental compensation for the one that I took from him. So I'm trying to get some damage in on the guys that are capturing our base, send up my spotter plane so that I can reach far enough, and unfortunately, about the worst possible coincidental turn of events here, bad luck happens where, even with my spotter plane up, these stupid mountains and volcanoes and stuff here completely block my shots. I've got the enemy well within sight in multiple positions, and I can't do a thing about it because of this gigantic 5,000 foot tall volcano here that I can't fire over the top of. And obviously I can't fire through it either. And the other guy right here, this Colorado, the Colorado right here is hidden by this ridgeline, and I'm going to have to wait another 2 to 3 minutes for him to come out in the open where I can hit him. So I basically cannot hit a thing on the enemy team, and all I can do is just watch my spotter plane's timer count down and be a complete and total waste. But if you look at the progress on the capture, we are well ahead of the enemy team in capture up there on... watch the capture flags here, because this is where the battle is decided at this point. And it's decided a little bit through our team's defense up at our point, and through some decisions that the Farragut makes on our side down here, unfortunately. So all three of us down here are inside the enemy cap. They've got a slight lead on capture right now. Our flag is on the left that they're taking. You can see the red progress is farther than their flag on the right, farther than our progress. And in a moment, you'll see a big difference being made. I can't hit anything from right now, and my spotter ran out. They've got a lead on us up there, and then somebody takes a big hit, and it knocks their capture progress way down. And we've got suddenly a huge lead in the capture. So basically now is just, don't take any damage, anybody. We've got it. We've got it won. And if you watch the Farragut there, now I'm wrong in chat about needing the kill. That is that's not what we needed. This was before I understood that you could defeat somebody. Look at how close we are to finishing the capture, and there our destroyer just left. And that's where we lost the battle. Our destroyer left the cap, we lost a huge chunk of capture progress, and that's where we lost the battle. Unfortunately, that cost us a victory right there. We otherwise had it won because of the number of ships we had in the capture circle. And if you watch now, we basically are going to capture it at the same time with the enemy team. And because they've got a score lead, we end up losing. So that's unfortunate, but what can you say? It's a learning experience. I did do a huge amount of damage. I don't know if that's the most damage I've ever done with the New Mexico or not, but boy, that was beautiful. So I stopped the video before I got the got the rest of the screen caps I usually get. So it's only going to be these two for now. So I hope you guys like this one. I hope it helps you guys learn if you're not sure what's going on, and how your decisions in the cap can affect your team. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.